So, next chapter in this book, still in focus. Still in focus, right? The next chapter is called. The next chapter is chapter 2, so it's class 2. The crippling of our flow states. So it's all about flow and how to achieve flow, and yeah, that's what you're going to learn in this video, right? And of course, if you read the book, you're probably going to learn way more. But don't click away, because you're gonna learn something anyway. So, first, what is flow? You probably already know what flow is, but just to kind of try and sum it up, because it's not that, I don't find it that easy to describe. But flow is a state where you're basically just, it's like a very high state of attention or like focus, like a very upgraded version of focus, where you're so focused that time doesn't even matter and stuff. Like you're just so focused on this one particular thing, like creating art, like drawing, programming, right? Exercising, stuff like that. You're so focused on it that you enter a flow state where you're basically flowing without realizing time and stuff like that. You're so focused that even stuff like time doesn't distract you. So how do you actually are you going to create flow? Now, creating flow is in 3 steps. First, you'd have a pretty clear goal, because going to do something in a flow state, if there are no like clear goals to reach, no clear achievements to get, nothing. There's no goal. So make a pretty clear goal, like reading chapter 3 of this book, like programming the character movement, like recording this episode, stuff like that. Making a pretty simple and clear goal. Then the next one is meaning. It's pretty hard to experience flow if you don't have, like, if the thing you're trying to get flow of isn't that meaningful to you. Like, imagine you don't like playing football, like you don't see why it's fun, or like you don't, what I mean? Like you don't, for example, right? Why are you then going to, how are you trying to achieve flow then, but you don't think it's meaningful in any way? Now, of course, I like to play football, but kinda, at least. I play it sometimes. But like, let's say, like, I'm growing vegetables, but let's say you don't see the point. You're like, well, yeah, I'm growing stuff, I can eat it, but like, right? I can also buy it, I can also buy it, right? It needs to be kind of meaningful, and then it needs to be a meaning behind it. And the last part of creating flow is the difficulty. So when you experience flow, you're probably not doing something that's pretty damn easy, or something that's quite challenging, like very, very hard, not just hard. You're probably just doing something that's quite challenging, not too hard, not particularly easy, but just quite challenging, right? It's a little challenge. Now, games are like an example of technology kind of using the flow state to kind of get your attention. Is games, for example. They're very good at doing those 3 things. they're pretty clear goals, right? So Link, now it's time to achieve this, to get this Master Sword. They're pretty clear goals. Okay, you have like open RPGs, but still, you're like, okay, my goal is to explore and find a new goal. It's still a pretty decently clear goal, right? Meaning, yeah, you have like a fake sense of meaning because you don't have any other meaning. You have kind of like a fake sense of meaning because you're part of the world and you know, like you, right? You have a fake sense of meaning. And difficulty, very nice, very good in games, right? Like the continuous up, like the continuous upgoing of the difficulty levels in video games is fantastic. Now to create flow, but I don't think you want to get flow out of video games. But they have mastered it. They have mastered creating flow on their buyers, their buyers, their clients. Now, you need to kind of have a pretty long stretch of time to try and get some flow. Like, how are you, at least as a pretty much a beginner at creating flow, how are you going to get flow in like 15 minutes? Like you've just started up, you're like, yeah, right? How are you doing that? You need, at least as a beginner, go and do it for an hour, right? Go and do it for an hour and a half. Doing 15 minutes is too late. I think, personally, I think it's a little bit too little, even a half hour. But, you know, it depends, of course, on the person, but of course, the meaning of flow is kind of forgetting the flow. Then, how long will it take till you have a flow, like a flow of flow? In the book, it took Johann about 3 to 4 weeks until the flow really, this was in the book, until it went to flow, until like the flow really went in, like 3 hours or so on end. He experienced flow for like 3 hours sometimes, and then, or even longer, and then even after the flow, he had a boosted mood throughout the day after the flow state. So, I am going to try, and it's hard with like school because you have all different subjects and I don't have that much time out after school, but I have no school at the moment. School is pretty much over right now for like a couple of days, so I just go ahead and record some videos, go over the program, right? And I can do it for longer stretches at a time. Go ahead and do some math that you haven't finished yet. I can do it for an hour and finish everything. Try and get in the flow state. But if you have school at the moment, you'll be like a day or so, right? But vacation is coming up, so the best time to start as a beginner and go to a pretty decent level of more easily getting flow states. Because as a beginner, it's difficult. It's more difficult with lower amounts of time. But if you're better, you can get flow pretty fast, I guess. So I hope this helps. I hope you now can know what flow states are and how you achieve them. And hopefully you learn something. I hope you can implement this in your life. Thank you for watching, and remember, keep learning.